Hello and welcome to Coach's Decision, a weekly talk show that covers sports topics from the Bay Area and beyond. I am joined here today in the lovely KSCO studios by a true detective in his own right, Joaquin Nagel. How are you, bud?
I'm doing well, Thomas. I'm in the mood to make some figures out of some Lone Star cans.
You're going to make some bad decisions based on your drug, alcohol, and beating up other people's kids and parents?
I'm just going to wear giant bolo ties.
Oh, man.
That's my jam.
True Detective is back. It's not as good as season 1, but there is still so much to chew on in that show.
There's hope for it yet.
But we're going to talk about sports today. We're going to talk about Tom Brady's Deflategate hearing, the U.S. women shattering Colombia's glass slipper, and because basketball season truly never ends, and neither does our intro, we will preview the NBA draft.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. All right, we'll also be taking your calls in about 20 minutes and your Twitter questions later in the show. To reach us, call producer Tori at 831-479-1080 or find us on Twitter at Coach's Decision. That's COACHS Decision. All right, we're going to kick it off with Tom Brady, future Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Now, this Deflategate thing has stretched on for months. It's been almost 6 months, 5 months since actual Deflategate. He's been suspended for 4 games. The league is now hearing his appeal. Do you think it's proper for Roger Goodell to be hearing an appeal of his own decision with quote-unquote new information?
I think all process in terms of decision-making when it comes to suspensions and damages in the NFL is broken. And they're making it all up as they go along. That's clear.
The problem is they make it up as they go along. They gauge the public reaction, they go through the appeals process, and then they make it up all over again.
Well, appeals process, the word process in appeals process is very generous to how the NFL has conducted themselves.
What's the last decision they made that stuck? The last time they stuck to their guns on anything? Never. I mean, the last time they had a clear and proper decision was when Paul Tagliabue had to come up and clean up Roger Goodell's Bountygate issue.
I think the decision to the post-video footage decision on Ray Rice
Oh,
stuck.
of course, yeah, because they didn't know that video existed, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry, Roger. Didn't mean to get on you for suspending Ray Rice for 2 games for knocking a woman unconscious on video, even though you hadn't seen the video, that everyone knew what the video was going to show.
And further, so when it comes to the Brady situation, he's suspended for 4 games, but does losing Tom Brady for 4 games eliminate the Patriots next season? Does it even make their path to the Super Bowl that much harder?
It absolutely makes it harder. That's 1/4 of the season. That's like losing Buster Posey and Hunter Pence for 50 games apiece or 40 games apiece.
But 6 teams get in the NFL, and if you can take anything away from recent Super Bowl results, it's that all you have to do is get in.
Yeah, but
it's not that you need that first round bye in the playoffs.
The Dolphins aren't bad. The AFC North is all pretty good. The AFC South is garbage as usual, but the AFC West has some competitive teams. Alex Smith in Kansas City, and who knows, maybe Peyton Manning or his replacement in Denver. We'll talk about that later.
Well, last time the Patriots were missing their star quarterback for a good amount of the season, they still made the playoffs, and it's not. And then when Castle moved on, it wasn't like he proved to be a great starter. That's a system move. Like they can system their way to 2-2.
I understand what you're saying. Do you think he's out all 4 games when all is said and done?
They have to stick with it, don't they? Like even if they
never have.
I think they need to keep him out all 4 games.
I have 2 questions. They both suck. Does Tom Brady's race or Tom Brady's legacy matter in this hearing, in this appeal?
I think that Tom Brady's race does not matter, and I think that Tom Brady's legacy survives independent of the results of this hearing.
I agree with the second part of what you said. I believe his race does matter. I believe that they are trying to make a staunch position against a white player who got himself into trouble. Because there's a lot of stuff in the league right now that's poisonous. There's domestic violence. There is, like we said, video footage of Ray Rice punching a woman in an elevator. I think it's time for them to lambaste someone, but I don't think they can do it for more than 2 games. Just because it's not a violent crime, there's no actual crime involved. There's no drugs, there's nothing. There's nothing to actually pin.
But there are things that are definitely against the league's bylaws.
Of course, and they're having trouble proving that. The Wells report did not conclusively prove that Tom Brady had a ball boy deflate footballs. They proved that there were some deflated footballs and that there may have been some shenanigans in his text messages. That doesn't prove anything. So I think it's 2 games, maybe even 1 game. But I think that would be the proper decision. I just would like to see the NFL stick to one of its decisions.
Do you think this NFL regime can survive another amendment to a suspension they had handed down?
Survive? Are they in trouble? Is Roger Goodell in trouble?
I guess public perception thereof.
People will still watch the game. It's the most popular primetime sport that there is. Sunday nights and Monday nights ratings are amazing. They beat every other TV network. They beat every primetime baseball game. It's like an NBA playoff game type ratings for every game that they show. So they're always going to win until they lose. And we'll just wait and see when that is.
I guess the prevailing sentiment that Goodell's follies take all the heat off the owners, and that's why the owners love him, right? Like, I think that does have an effect here.
Yeah, but eventually you stick so many needles in him that he just falls apart. You know, he's got stuck Bountygate on him already, Deflategate, the mishandling of concussions, the mishandling of the Ray Rice incident. All these things start to stack up, and eventually he's just going to pop like a grape. But he's going to have made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, then they give him a golden parachute, and they bring in another Pindall, right?
Yeah, I think gone is the era where there can be a commissioner of a league like this for 20, 30 years. You just can't do it. There's too many real issues out there, and the league is too slow to adapt.
So I think that's where someone like Adam Silver has an advantage, because the NBA is a globally growing sport. And the NFL tried to grow in Europe. They had NFL Europe, and they've tried to expand the brand of American football, but they haven't found much success. So I think Silver can sort of say, see, this is what I'm doing to improve the game. Whereas all Goodell has is, well, this is another scandal under my watch, and this is another scandal that happened under my watch.
So I see what the NFL is grown into itself.
Yeah.
And the only thing that can happen now is it collapses on
itself.
Exactly.
Or just keeps on propping up figureheads to get lambasted by poor decisions.
I think there's somehow a parallel for America in there.
Uh-oh.
And on that note, we'll move on to one of America's favorite people, Diddy.
Formerly P. Diddy. Formerly Puff Daddy.
Currently
always
Sean
Combs.
I don't know.
Diddy Combs.
Oh my God, I miss Puffy.
Yeah.
The puffy shirt, the puffy game, all puffy music videos.
All shiny suits.
You know who doesn't miss Puffy?
Who's that?
UCLA's strength and conditioning coach Sal Alosi. Apparently, there's still much that has to come out about this story, but apparently Diddy's son is a junior at UCLA, defensive back and special teamer, did not get full attention in the weight room, actually got kicked out of the weight room for not trying hard enough and not practicing hard enough, calls his dad, who shows up, world-famous producer, world-famous hitmaker. Mogul, that's the word. Thank you, Joaquin. Mogul shows up and moguls his way into the training room, moguls his way into the coaches, and then goes nuts.
Commits assault with a deadly kettlebell.
Terroristic threats, throws a kettlebell at an intern, has a physical altercation face-to-face with a coach. What the heck?
Puffy's gotten away with things like this in the past, right?
Dave Chappelle needs to come out of retirement and make a sketch out of this. He absolutely does.
I mean, he was accused of assault after he didn't like the video for Hate Me Now, the record he did with Nas in 2001.
He's still getting in verbal disputes. How old is he? He's got to be coming up on 50, right? Dre's over 50 now.
22 years ago is when... I'm just doing some math.
I know.
Just doing
I like
some
your encyclopedic knowledge of hip-hop history that you're running actual numbers in your head. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
He discovers the Notorious B.I.G. in 93, so that's 22 years ago. He's like an A&R at 21, so he's he's late 40s. He's probably mid to late 40s.
Diddy Kong Racing came out in 1997. Okay. Yeah, he's too old to be doing this.
Yes.
All parents are too old to be doing this. His son is too old for him.
Did he have an entourage with him while the incident went down?
Was he being carried?
Was he clanking empty Coke bottles together?
No, but honestly, his son is 20, 21 years old. That's a man.
Did you see that both father and son posted the same Instagram picture of the two of them? And
yeah, with the hashtag family first.
Family first, Thomas.
Oh, my God.
Puff Daddy and the family. It's on his record right there. No way out. There's no way out when Puff Daddy and the family come to town.
I miss Sly and the Family Stone. That was the family. The Pointer Sisters.
Those are the families you remember?
Sister Sledge.
The Jackson 5.
Oh, that's a family we would not want to talk about. Father or sons. Moving on to some sons of some very tall gentlemen. The NBA draft is tomorrow. This is the event I get geared up for. I know you're all about the playoffs. You're all about the finals.
I'm all about the NBA, once players are playing professional basketball.
Okay, but give me this. Humor me this. 10 years later, What's more fun to watch than a retro NBA draft?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
Even just watching last year's draft, looking at Zach LaVine's suit.
Because you have
pure gold.
You have all of the career accomplishments for 10 years, all the flameouts, all the successes, all the I can't believe they drafted that guy, even though at the time you weren't saying anything because you didn't know anything.
All the picks made with 2 seconds left on the clock when you know they knew who they were picking the whole time.
Yeah, all the picks made by David Kahn, taking Rubio and Flynn over Curry. Oh, thank you, David Kahn.
Thank you, David Kahn.
You the best.
From everyone in the Bay Area, big thanks to David Kahn. Big shout out.
Big ups. You'll never pay for a drink in the Bay Area, David Kahn. Never again, even if you didn't already. Towns or Okafor? That might not even be the question to ask, but that's the one I want to ask about the two bigs. Because I have my opinions.
I think Towns.
I think Towns, too, just for the upside. I think he's a franchise big. He's not Anthony Davis. He's not going to change your franchise for the next 15 years. But he will be able to be in your starting lineup right away.
Yes, and he's clearly shown the ability to improve his game and change facets of his game just in 1 year in college. Like when he first got to Kentucky, he didn't want to bang down low. He would shoot from the outside. He would want to take fadeaways. And by the time the tournament happened, he's shooting more hook shots. He's banging bodies. He's using his strength and his size. I think that sort of willingness to add facets to his game over the course of just 1 year shows the sort of upside he could have in the NBA. Like take someone like Draymond Green, who's added something to his game every year, and now you see where he is, ready on the precipice of a max deal, just winning the title.
And Minnesota definitely has a need for a big. You know, they got Andrew Wiggins in the Kevin Love trade, so they have a good wing, a superior defender, and offensive player in transition.
They have LaVine, who has a lot of upside, a lot of athleticism.
The man can dunk.
They have Rubio, right, who can orchestrate things from the point. Pekovic is all right, but he's certainly not a rim protector. And then Dang can't stay on the floor.
Minnesota's got a nice future, I think.
Well, they have if they pick Towns, they'll have like a good young core that is almost analogous to how the Warriors came up over the past few years.
So with Towns going first, how far do you think Okafor can fall? Because he was the number one guy on the board coming into the season. He was the player. He was being primed to be the top pick.
Well, you could see the Lakers potentially passing on him, right, for a playmaking smaller player.
I totally agree with that. But how far does it get? I mean, Philly's got a bunch of bigs.
I don't think he gets past New York.
You don't think he gets past New York?
No, 4 is the farthest he can go. Philly doesn't need him. Philly has they have 2 giant bigs already in Noel and Embiid, and they're not giving up on Embiid yet.
Because I was reading Chad Ford's big board, Chad Ford's mock draft. I love Chad Ford. He had Okafor falling all the way to Sacramento.
Was it a pre-draft Chad Ford board, or was it a post-draft Chad Ford board?
The Ford board, yeah, it gets complicated. But he had Okafor dropping all the way to 6, and I can actually see why. I love Moutier, and I love Russell. Mm-hmm. I think D'Angelo Russell out of Ohio State is possibly the next Dwayne Wade, which is insane because that's a future Hall of Famer right there. I think he fits in a big market. I think he has the ability to run Phil Jackson's triangle in New York. I think he has the ability to Showtime Laker it up in Los Angeles, and I think both of those markets would be better for him. Also, the Lakers can't take Okafor because they just took Julius Randle, who needs the post, who needs the block to be able to succeed.
Right.
So I think he could slip. He could be that guy.
But you think past? I don't see him getting past New York. New York needs someone that they can just put in the starting lineup, and they say he's going to get us 20 points right now. He's going to grab boards. He's going to bring life back to Madison Square Garden. And someone that you could pair with Carmelo. Carmelo on the outside threat. Carmelo can run ISOs. He can run catch and shoots. And then you bring Okafor in, and he can score down low.
So they want him to be what Amari Stoudemire was supposed to bring.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, well, that's our first segment. We're going to go ahead and bring on everyone's favorite guest.
Who could it be?
I can see the red tail lights.
It looks like Daniel is on the phone. Let me get him on the phone. Let's keep hearing some Elton John first.
I can see Daniel waving goodbye. God, it looks like Daniel. Must be the clouds in my eyes.
Hey, Thomas.
Daniel, you there, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Sorry, I got caught up in your intro music. I'm really obsessed with that Elton John song now.
It's pretty good. I feel welcomed.
Good. Did your parents have that in mind when they named you at all, the Zarchies?
You know, what I found out recently is apparently I'm named after Danny Kaye.
Danny Kaye? What are his qualifications?
He died a week before I was born.
Oh. Wow, my name's Krista McAuliffe then. That's a deep reference for those out there. We've got Zarchi on the phone. We've got Danny from Giants Pod. My man, my insider. We've been in the dugout together. My brother. We need to talk about Pablo Sandoval.
We haven't been inside that part of the dugout, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, we don't use the bathrooms next to the dugout. We can hold it and wait for the press box. Pablo Sandoval,
oh man,
his thumbs have been a little busier than they should be on the baseball field and in the bathroom. He was on Instagram liking photos during a game, which is against regulations of MLB and the Boston Red Sox. You cannot have your phone 30 minutes prior to the game or until after the game. So what the heck, man?
So what you're saying is that Pablo Sandoval's first year in Boston is not going particularly well.
No, it's going horribly.
You know, I don't know. Like, the first thing that springs to mind here is that time Pablo Sandoval went on Twitter as a Giant asking women to tell him a bedtime story or looking for a woman who wanted to tell him a bedtime story.
Yeah, what is his relationship with social media? Why is that his only access into the world of ladies?
Well, and then immediately his agents or whoever shut down his Twitter account, opened it up a couple years later as KFP48, and it was all very carefully manicured tweets. So I imagine that's about to happen with his Instagram.
So we have seen Pablo Sandoval interact in the wild, let's call it, on the field. We've seen him before games. We've seen him in the dugout. He's a very jovial fellow. He is one of the most fun people to watch. He loves life. He loves baseball. He loves his teammates. But he has this kind of stigma about not making good decisions, whether it's about his diet, whether it's about burning out in San Francisco and going to Boston for not even more money or not even that much more money. And now this is... Can he ever mature? Can he ever figure it out?
I'm not sure you can really lump all of those together as quote-unquote bad decisions.
I mean, every day he makes bad decisions with his diet and workouts. As a professional athlete, you have to admit that.
You can say it if you want. I mean, you've also got... Pablo Sandoval is one of those few people who operated at a very high level while extremely overweight. And, you can argue that Operation Panda, if it had worked, would have produced a fitter, leaner dude who would have played much better. But I think it's one thing to say that he can't really get in shape, and another to say that he's doing these kind of bonehead things with social media and embarrassing himself and the Red Sox and his hashtag brand. So,
but I really can't separate them, Danny. I can't, because he got his contract that he wanted. He was playing for this contract. He was a very integral part of 3 World Series teams, at least 2 World Series teams. Didn't play much in the 2010 World Series. But he was playing for this contract, and is he now letting himself go? His batting average is down, his power is down, his belly is out, and now he's making weird, awkward phone decisions in the bathroom during games?
I think what you have to ask yourself is, what was Boston expecting? Because throughout his career, he's shown to be extremely inconsistent. His highs are very high, his lows are pretty low. I mean, last year he started out batting sub-200 in the month of April and then batted 300 the rest of the way. Obviously, this year's bump is lasting a little longer than that, but it's mostly from one side of the plate. I think he's doing significantly better as a lefty this year than a righty, which is what he usually does, but it's much, much more pronounced this year. Who knows? I don't think you can look at this and say this contract is a failure, even though I think Ken Rosenthal or somebody released an article saying that the Red Sox should cut ties with Sandoval and Hanley and restart, not really understanding the concept of a sunk cost.
Well, it's too soon.
Or perhaps understanding it all too well.
It's too soon for that, but $95 million was a lot for Pablo, especially if he's going to not be socially responsible and not produce on the field. If he's hitting .330, this is barely a story. If he's hitting .330, I bet he gets a slap on the wrist instead of getting benched.
Well, sure, but who's to say that he's not going to do better? I mean, I think he's been batting better this week than he did the week before. It's all a matter of, and we're still at that point in the season where if he has one kind of Mookie Betts-like hot streak, he's going to be batting above 300. I mean, if anybody has a Mookie Betts-like hot streak, they're going to be batting above 500 or above 300. But this is year one in a 5-year deal. Let's just wait. And it's not that much different from his career leading up to this point.
Am I just bitter, Danny? Am I just mad that he left?
Oh, I'm as mad as anybody. I mean, not that he left, but that he burned his bridges, that he trash-talked the Giants, that, you know, all this stuff. And I think a lot of people agree. I mean, he's not quite Melky level, but he's in that same direction. But I think everyone just needs to take a chill pill here, take a step back, and remember that this is an inconsistent player who has extremely high potential, the propensity to make a bonehead move, and maybe he just needs some time and somebody to take away his phone.
Yeah, at this point you just worry. His manager is kind of on the hot seat. You worry about his manager getting fired. A manager not getting fired anytime soon is Bruce Bochy. He has earned our complete confidence. So much so that Buster Olney, our second favorite person named Buster that we've met in our lives, wrote a column about the Giants and their merit-based culture and how the Giants are able to move players around despite egos and keep a winning, consistent program together. Now, you read that article by Buster. What did that make you think?
Oh, I loved it, and not to cross sports too much here, but it made me think of Steve Kerr. Because, you know, what you've got here, the gist of the article is basically that Bruce Bochy is good at managing egos in a way that very few managers are. And he's good at rewarding and kind of punishing, or at least reducing playing time of people based on how well they're playing, which is a novel concept in the MLB. And you've got guys who underperform and they get dropped. They get dropped in the order. They see less playing time, and everyone kind of buys in because Bruce Bochy's a Hall of Fame manager.
He mentioned specifically Pagan moving around in the lineup, Zito going in and out to not being on the roster in 2010 for the World Series to being a hero even in the 2012 playoffs, Lincecum accepting his demotion to the bullpen in the playoffs, and Romo going from closer to setup man with apparently no ill will, no media, nothing. Nothing went down on any of those transactions from like a media standpoint.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that we talked about foolishly on our show was whether Blanco should play center over Pagan. I mean, that's nothing. But what you're talking here is you've got the most expensive player on your team not starting. You've got and what's coming down the pipe probably next week is when you've got Matt Cain and Jake Peavy coming back. You're probably going to see Tim Lincecum sent to the bullpen and Tim Hudson either bounce from the rotation totally or just
bounce
likely going on the DL.
Oh, maybe bounce from the team. They could cut him.
They could. What Henry Schulman is guessing is that he might go on a DL because he's got something of a lingering ankle injury.
He's 39 years old. He has a lingering injury.
I mean, anyone who got stepped on by Eric Young Jr. has a lingering ankle injury. But Bochy has the kind of clout that he can do that, and people seem to buy in. You know, you look at today's lineup, you've got Pagan batting leadoff, but that's just because of the tremendous injuries. But you also got Duffy batting third. Duffy is the ultimate example of this. He's a minor leaguer who's hitting better than we ever could have expected. Casey McGee is a veteran who did not play very well, but he's getting paid a lot of money.
Making $6 million this year.
Right, who the Giants traded actual assets for. I mean, nothing that we're going to miss, but actual assets. And guess what? McGee played horribly, Duffy played well, and Duffy got the job. And you even see this kind of culture trickle down because one of the things that Olney talks about in his article is that after Duffy got the job and after Bochy told that to McGee, McGee took Duffy aside and gave him some advice and offered to mentor him on some of the defensive tricks at third because Duffy doesn't have that much experience at third. You know, all this kind of stuff. And it's a
little did McGee know he was about to get cut. Bochy forgot to mention that part.
Exactly, but it's a kind of a culture of professionalism, and you have a very strong figurehead at the top that everyone else can kind of take orders and feel that they're going to be good orders. and feel that they're gonna achieve something great together, which is what Steve Kerr did.
All right, Danny, let's get you out on this. If gun to your head, does Bruce Bochy win another World Series with the Giants?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, he does.
I say no, and I would have said that after each of the last two World Series. So
And
you can
you have little faith.
I always have little faith. That's why we're the yin and the yang of Giants baseball. You are Daniel Zarchi. You can follow you, and we can follow you at Giants Pod. Follow Danny during games. It's usually depressing or wonderful, depending on if the Giants are winning. Any closing
Indeed.
words for you, Danny? A shout out to Pablo, your man.
Shout out to my boy Pablo. I mean, I wish the best for him, even if we're not friends anymore.
I might not, though, Danny. Thank you for coming on the show, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right, time to shout out some of our sponsors. Our sponsor, Bruno's Barbecue and Catering in Kings Village Shopping Center in Scotts Valley. They've got ribs, they've got burgers, steaks, some delicious salads. My old favorite, though, the Blue Plate Special. They make fun of me for this, for ordering chicken at a rib joint. But a chicken breast with melted cheese, mushrooms, broccoli, and carrots. Love it. It's very healthy, except for the cheese, and very delicious. Bruno's also has 12 beer taps, also unhealthy. I love it, though. And a full bar. Bruno's welcomes large parties and banquets in their spacious upstairs loft, which also has its own bar and TV. Saw a couple of finals games there, here and there. The restaurant also features ping pong and darts. Joaquin, are you any good at ping pong?
I'm better at darts.
You're better at darts. Okay, I want to take some people out. Anyone out there listening who wants to play ping pong, I need to find a match. I can't find anybody to beat me.
Yeah, do you play underhand, overhand?
Both.
Okay.
I play with two hands. I play with my feet. No, I play overhand for the most part. But, no, I'm versatile. I got some spins. I got some moves. So head on down to Bruno's. Mention you heard it here on Coach's Decision. Mention my name, Thomas Todd, and you will get a free order of French fries. Bruno's Barbecue and Catering in Scotts Valley, just a half mile off the Mount Hermon exit in Scotts Valley in Kings Village Shopping Center. Our other sponsor of today's show is the wonderful local artist Ken Keegan. I love Ken. A close personal friend of mine, a big baseball fan, a New York Mets fan, but we won't hold it against him. You can find his art for sale and for viewing on artwanted.com by searching his name, Ken Keegan. Dozens of his works are up, some of them baseball themed, some of them local themed. He has some beautiful landscapes. My favorite work he did is called Quiet Moon, a very serene painting with some blue and some green. Thinking about purchasing a print of that, my friend Ken. I will talk to you soon. That's artwanted.com. Search Ken Keegan. All right, Joaquin, let's keep rolling today.
Let's do it, Thomas.
What do you want to roll with first? Pick a topic, any topic.
How about more basketball? No, let's go to the Women's World Cup, Thomas.
Okay, we can talk Women's World Cup because I'm a little worried, as are many Americans, about the loss of Rapinoe and Holiday. The U.S. did win 2-0 against Colombia, but lost 2 players for the next round against China, Holiday and Rapinoe. Is that too much? Because they're a better team than China, but is that too much?
Well, I think they've been winning ugly all tournament. They haven't been playing their best game. They haven't broken through in the way that they want to for this tournament, which actually I think bodes well for this quarterfinals matchup. I think as long as they can keep on scrapping through, keep the pressure on China, then getting Rapinoe back and fresh for the semifinals will bode well.
Is Solo truly impenetrable? Is that defense impenetrable? Because they have a long, long goalless streak going.
Fluky goals can happen at any time, so you have to watch out for that. But I think the U.S. part of that goalless streak is how much pressure they put on the other team, how much time they spend with the ball and in the other team's half of the field.
But a lot of that control comes from Rapinoe running up the wing on the other side and keeping the ball on that side of the field. I think they're going to miss her leadership. I know they have Wambach there as a salty veteran. You know, Alex Morgan is a young, good player. But I think Rapinoe is part of the glue that holds that team together.
Oh, for sure. Rapinoe's been one of their top performers for multiple international tournaments in a row now.
She scored 2 goals this year. Both have been very crucial. I mean, every goal in a Women's World Cup is crucial, except for, Germany beating Ivory Coast 10-1. Ridiculous.
Well, you know how the Germans are in their World Cup victories. They're very gaudy.
But where's our 10-1 victory? Where's the U.S.'s big whomping?
I'm okay with it not happening yet.
Yeah.
You don't need it now.
That makes sense.
You don't need to peak in a tournament early. I mean, if you think of the Men's World Cup in 2010, the German team was scoring goals for fun in the group stage and then flamed out before the semifinals.
That's a good point. It kind of reminds me of the 2008 men's hockey team that won silver, and they lost to Canada. The very scrappy, gritty, put you in the corner, beat you 2-1, 1-0.
Over and over, yeah.
Until finally they went in the final in Canada.
But you see, I think this U.S. Women's World Cup team has that other gear. They haven't hit it yet this tournament, but they have it. They can win scrappy, but they could hit that gear. Wombat can put multiple goals past anyone, and they can win big.
I want to see it. I think Solo keeps them in it against China. Germany would be up next if the standings hold. That's going to be their toughest game. I think if they win against Germany in the semis, I think they win the whole thing.
I agree.
Okay. I don't think they're going to trip up against China either. All right. We will talk some basketball now, Joaquin.
Yes.
Because George Karl, oh my goodness, trying to trade his best player, Boogie Cousins.
Is he?
Is he not?
So the issue is that Boogie Cousins' agent really doesn't want his player in Sacramento. I think it's more coming on that end.
So you're telling me a sports agent doesn't want his all-world talent to play in a barren wasteland on a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in, what did George Karl say, 6, maybe 7, maybe 8, maybe 9 years? He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know he coaches the team.
You also don't want to play in a team that plays fourth fiddle throughout the state.
Or in the Western Conference at all.
Exactly. So I think a lot of it is coming from Cousins' camp, but I can't. George Karl was hired specifically to mentor Cousins and to try to make things right with Boogie and keep him in Sacramento.
Does he want to do that though?
Yes, he does.
Okay, because it hasn't really seemed like it. I know they're interviewing him on golf courses at this point because we're in that part of the season, but it hasn't seemed like he wants to mentor Boogie. He's brought up trades, or there have been brought up trades, Kenneth Faried and Ty Lawson for Boogie. That's 40 cents on the dollar.
Well, that's also two players Karl was just working with in Denver. I think that screams that it's not actually coming from Karl to me.
Okay.
Karl did have a falling out with Lawson, supposedly, so I don't know why he would all of a sudden want him back.
The other package mentioned was Jordan Hale and the number 2 pick. That's not going to happen. Okay.
Never.
All right, but Boogie in L.A. is
Boogie
salivating, right?
You can't see that. Why would the Kings deal with the Lakers?
They wouldn't.
No.
I agree with you. And Vivek Ranadive, the owner, has said, I trust Vlade Divac. Whatever Vlade says goes. And Vlade has said he's not trading.
Vlade wants Boogie in Sacramento.
Yeah, Vlade's a big. Boogie's a big. Bigs respect other bigs. And you don't give away your first team, second team, all NBA players.
Well, think about something like when we're talking about Okafor and Towns, and we're talking about their potential to get you 20 and 10, 22 and 10, what they can do in the low post. Maybe they can shoot a little. Boogie does all of that.
Yeah, he does it already.
Boogie gets you 25 and 12.
A lot of people are saying that he's more about stats than standings, though. Does that mean anything to you?
I disagree with that because if you recall back to times when the Kings played the Clippers and Isaiah Thomas was being cordial with the Clippers players after a loss, Boogie was having none of it.
Okay, so he cares about winning. He can get motivated. He can be the best player on a team that makes the Western Conference Finals.
Yes, he can. People say everyone says Carmelo is more motivated by stats, but when the one time he was the times he's ever been around other good players, he's been a world beater. He won in Syracuse. He took the Nuggets to the Western Conference Finals. I think Boogie is sort of mercurial like Anthony in that, where he's visually moody, and people can take that to mean he doesn't care or that he's sulking. But I think he's ultra competitive.
But when do they get the right player? They have the number 6 pick in this draft, and we've said off air that it's a 7-player draft. Do they get the player this year? Do they get the player next year? When do they surround Boogie with this talent?
So that's why I think Boogie's agent wants him out, because Boogie's camp, why would you have faith in the Kings to surround him with talent?
Also, we're calling a grown man Boogie. We should be shot.
Boogie!
Keeping in the NBA, Mozgov's extension picked up by the Cavs. $5 million. This is pretty obvious.
Yep. Easy move for the Cavs. Saves them money because it's a team option. Meanwhile, J.R. Smith is opting out of $6 million, but still wants to stay in Cleveland, likely for 8, maybe as much as 10.
Yeah, anyone hollering that Mozgov couldn't stay on the court in the finals doesn't know anything about basketball. Andrew Bogut couldn't stay on the court in those finals.
Well, no one could stay on the court in those finals under Blatt's rotations except for LeBron.
That's true, but even Warriors players had to sit because of strategy. Basketball's now more of a strategy.
Well, also
game.
games are like read and react, and if a team's doing something that's hurting you now, you move away from it, and why would you necessarily move back to something that got you killed earlier in the game?
That's true. Okay, let's dip back into the draft really quick. I know you aren't the college basketball guy that I am, but I have some opinions.
Oh yeah, Thomas?
I have some thoughts.
Do you have some sleeper picks for everyone?
Oh, I took a nap today, and in that nap, I just dreamed of
Do you had an epiphany?
men between 6'2" and 7'2" just floating through my head.
Floating through picks 10 through 20 maybe?
Yeah.
Or maybe late lottery?
I've got 3 sleepers for you.
Okay.
People out there, listen, mark my words. These are the guys I watched in college. These are the guys who I think skills will translate to the next level. I have one in the lottery who's going to be a great player. That's Rondé Hollis-Jefferson from Arizona. I think he has big-time skills, big-time defense. He's great around the rim. He's a decent passer. He just needs to learn how to shoot, which isn't the easiest thing in the world to do, but it can be taught.
Can he shoot free throws?
No.
That's an issue. I think free throw shooting in college translates to a player's ability to learn to shoot the next level.
They're saying he has Andre Iguodala-like skills, which I like. He's kind of
love that.
He's toolsy. It's a baseball term, but he's toolsy. All right, we'll blow through these really quick. Outside the lottery, I have Sam Decker from Wisconsin, also a toolsy guy. I think the floor gets bigger in the pros, more picks, more space. I think he's going to work that space, get a lot of baseline dunks, get a lot of good jump shots. And then I have my second rounder. I had to dive deep into the second round for this one. This guy's from North Carolina, J.P. Tokoto. Another super athletic guy, another guy who can run the floor. I really think he's going to have an NBA career. And it looks like we have a caller who wants to talk about the Warriors. Thank you for calling. This is Sam. How are you doing, Sam?
Oh, my God, you were talking about Iguodala. In this whole series, I won every bet I made on the Vegas line.
All right, well, you're a rich man. Did you buy a new house?
$6,400. I started out
right.
with $200 bet. So here's the deal. Remember LeBron still going like, oh, yeah, I'm the MVP and all that, right?
Yeah.
Iguodala made LeBron his woman, man. He punks.
All right, well, that's enough from Sam.
Oh, man.
He's going to sit on his money and enjoy it very much, Sam. Enjoy your money. Enjoy your hatred of LeBron.
Well, I think he has a point in that Iguodala won MVP by guarding LeBron, right? I've said it before. Each of the past 2 years now, the player that guards LeBron in the finals when LeBron loses wins the MVP. It's the way of showing the writers attempting to show respect to the quote-unquote greatest player in the world, but also giving the MVP out to whoever slows down LeBron and gives their team the opportunity to win.
So Sam's a gambling man, and I have a question because he likes Iguodala. Sam or Joaquin, what do you put the odds on of Andre Iguodala winning the NBA MVP next season?
NBA MVP?
NBA MVP, 2 million to 1, 3 million to 1.
Off the board.
All right,
Definitely off the board.
I'm gonna put down $1 and hope that it's 6,400 to 1. Thanks for calling in, Sam. Anyone who would like to talk about any sport or anything, please call us 831-479-1080. We're going to jump into another sponsorship break. We're going to talk about 99 Bottles, located on Walnut Street, Wall Street. My goodness, that money's going to my head. Walnut Street between Pacific Avenue and Cedar Street. 99 Bottles is the prime spot in downtown for dining and full entertainment with drink selections from domestic to hard-to-find beers to a full bar. It's literally hundreds of choices to work your way through. You will never get bored of their drink selection. Their drinks are good. Their food also speaks for itself. A great selection of pub food. They have a great sausage sandwich that I enjoy. The waffle fries on the side, of course. Trivia night, Wednesday nights with Marisa. Starts at 8 o'clock, just like our show. Those who know me know I love trivia. I've been to that trivia night. It's fantastic. Audio questions, good theme questions, TV show questions. I love TV show questions. And also for sports fans, 99 Bottles has TVs up and down. They have a wonderful little teeny tiny patio that juts out onto Walnut Street with a good view of downtown. You can bring your dog, tie him up on the patio, and enjoy a great meal or go up and watch sports. Thank you to 99 Bottles.
Great place to go for First Friday also. It's a nice mid Pacific break. You can hang out. You don't have to walk around all the time. Crowds are flowing. People are going across the street.
You're one of those artsy-fartsy guys, aren't you?
Sometimes. I like soccer.
Big hair, big women.
Oh, really, Thomas?
No, I was talking about me. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of gambling, actually, Sam brings up a good point, because we banned him from the show, just as Pete Rose has been banned from the Baseball Hall of Fame. In the news again, Pete Rose. Help yourself out.
Yeah, Pete. So Outside the Lines, ESPN's Outside the Lines, has uncovered Pete Rose's diary where he mentions having actually bet on baseball on the Reds.
You just called
as
it a
player.
diary. The man doesn't have a diary.
It's pretty much a diary. Come on.
Dear Diary, I lost $5,500 on the 86 Celtics.
Dear Diary,
I'm the only person to ever lose money on the 86 Celtics.
Dear Diary, I lost $25,000 this week because I'm a degenerate gambler.
So he did bet on himself as a player and as a coach. This is not proper. This cannot happen.
Well, there's still no evidence that he ever bet on the Reds to lose. Like the thought from Major League Baseball is that as soon as he wagered money on a game he was participating in, he put money over the game. But if you're betting on yourself to win, how does that detract from your ability to perform?
There is a giant sign in every clubhouse that says, "Do not bet on sports. Do not bet on baseball. Do not bet on anything." It's mentioned in every single rookie symposium that MLB doesn't have because they need to get up on that. It's mentioned in every contract. It's mentioned everywhere. Do not bet on your team. I used to be a Pete Rose Hall of Fame supporter, but he has completely talked his way out of it for me. He's used his own ban from the Hall of Fame as a self-promotion. He has never humbled himself once. He's always used it to his own advantage to get into the public eye, and I hate it.
I don't know. It's hard for me because you could say that someone like Rose had a gambling addiction and that he's being unfairly punished for that.
Well, it looks like we have another caller. I'm going to go ahead and pop over and see what they have to say. Caller, who are we speaking with today?
Oh no, this is Sam. I'm going to Gamblers Anonymous.
Okay, that's good to hear, Sam. All right, well, enjoy Gamblers Anonymous. Also enjoy your winnings. Joaquin, before we bring on Tori to do Tori topics, you wanted to talk about sport climbing in the Olympics.
Oh, yeah. So the shortlist for sports to make the Olympics for 2020 just came out, and it includes baseball once again and sport climbing. And as a big climbing guy, I'm excited that sport climbing's in there, and I think it actually has a good chance because it doesn't take up as many athlete spots as previous sports such as baseball and softball.
Well, how is it scored? Like, is it judged like figure skating, or is there point?
It's point based, based on the numbered handholds up the route.
Okay.
And so it's really easy to follow. It's really aesthetically pleasing. And baseball left the Olympics because of 53 athlete spots, or however many athlete spots necessary per nation, and that just takes up space in the Olympic Village, and it makes it harder to host and to organize.
All right, we're about to bring on Tori Topics. First, we're going to go back to our sponsors. We'd like to remind you about Bruno's Barbecue and Catering. We mentioned their storefront location in Scotts Valley, but did you know Bruno's will come to you? If you have a wedding, a summer party, or want to feed an army of people, Bruno's should be your first call. They will tailor their service to your budget and your every need. They will hook you up. Have your friends, your family, and guests salivating the moment Bruno's trucks show up with their logo. Everybody knows that Bruno's is the original California barbecue. They can bring you beer, they can bring you a bartender, they can bring you wine, bring you champagne. Visit brunosbarbecue.com or call 831-GET-BBBQ to book your summer event. That's 831-438-2227. Thank you again to Bruno's Barbecue for your sponsorship, and also to our friend Ken Keegan, local artist with a passion for sports. Find all of his paintings for sale on artwanted.com by searching his name, Ken Keegan. We're going to have Ken on our show sometime soon, as soon as the Mets do something relevant. Sorry, Ken. I can't help it. Once again, that's Ken Keegan on artwanted.com. Some of his paintings are up. Room with a View, 2 a.m., The Strawberry Farmer. They're all wonderful pieces of art. Now we come to our last segment of the show. It is called Tori Topics, where we bring on producer Tori to grill us on what's going on in sports that we missed. Go ahead, Tori. Grill us. Now.
Right now?
Right now.
All right. Well, Be Still My Beating Heart. Sebastian Janikowski says the new 33-yard extra point rule will be more important during late games due to inclement
What
weather.
is with you and large Polish men?
I have a type.
You have a type. So wait, it's going to be more difficult or more fun?
It's going to be more important.
More important. Okay.
Because the weather's definitely going to make things tougher for them.
Joaquin, should kickers be more important? The answer is no. Okay, moving on. I do like this rule. No, I do like this rule, and I do like Sebastian Janikowski's giant leg.
I mean, he should be kicking field goals for like, what, 70-yarders Gruden made him, or who was it, Lane Kiffin made him try?
So Lane Kiffin tries all kinds of
rolling
crazy
him
stuff.
out there.
All right, Tori, next topic.
All right. Former Chargers center Nick Hardwick did naked squats to break the ice with his team
His current team?
when he was on the Chargers.
Oh, my goodness. Breaking the ice? Is that a metaphor, a euphemism for something?
A couple of the
Are they going
defensive players.
Sorry, that was too bad of a visual. I just was picturing his fishing pole.
Couple of the defensive players had an early morning meeting, and as they were walking by the gym, they saw him full glass mirrors just doing naked squats.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, creating a culture in the clubhouse is important. I don't know if that's quite the culture you want to create.
It's a big contrast from the Giants culture we were just discussing earlier.
That's true, yeah. At least he's the center and not the bottom, right?
Oh, goodness.
Next topic, Tori.
Good Lord. The guy that caught A-Rod's 3,000th home run says, I don't plan to give it back for a chance to meet him and get 4 autographed bats because I
A-Rod
don't
has
collect
3,000 home runs?
Hit.
3,000 hits.
bats.
It's okay. You made the same mistake that MMA fighter Brendan Schaub made on Joe Rogan's podcast. He was stuck to his guns, too, and was like, yeah, A-Rod has 3,000 home runs.
Anyway, he said, I don't collect bats. I collect baseballs.
And how many does he have?
Oh, well, if you can get it authenticated, why would he give it back? Why would you give anything to A-Rod? Tell him to pay you some of that $26 million a year he's making.
Absolutely. He got paid to go away. That's my favorite kind of money. Go away money. Hey, Thomas, here's $26 million. Go away.
Yeah, why don't you stay away from Woodstocks for a while? Here's $20 million.
Oh, come on. Yeah, I'd go away. You'd never hear from me again. The listeners would hear from me, though. All right, Tori.
All right. So Iggy's son sculpted a Larry O'Brien trophy in his art class and gave it to his dad for Father's Day.
First of all, that's really cute, and I think Sam out there in Santa Cruz should buy that trophy.
We
We get one caller. We get one caller.
Thomas.
I'm sorry,
So-
I'm just really upset.
But the best part of the story is that his son made it months ago in anticipation of the Warriors winning.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
that's so cute.
It's so
Yeah,
cute.
he made it in, I think, April, and then gave it to his father for Father's Day after
He made it
they
in
won.
his art class.
It would have been even crazier if it was like the Bill Russell MVP trophy, like Finals MVP trophy, and this kid's just
That would have
somehow
been
like
perfect.
he's like the World Cup octopus kid who can just like predict what's going to happen, or like when Penn and Teller
They're
pretends
gonna-
to pick the Super Bowl MVP.
They're going to send Kevin Cruz to his art class to see what he's making and who will win what.
LeBron James's kid is out balling. Iggy's kid's doing art. This is great.
He moved to the Bay Area for a reason.
I love athletes' kids. Is he in a magnet school? Is he in public school?
He's probably trying to be an entrepreneur like his dad,
A mogul, even.
a mogul, venture capitalist.
All right. My favorite headline of the week. FIFA's Sepp Blatter movie, United Passions, is confirmed as the lowest grossing film in U.S. history.
I knew the previous film. It was like Zizek's Road, I think, was the least grossing movie of all time. I don't know how I know this, except I know exactly how I know this.
It's all Z's and X's.
It's all Z's and X's. So wait, what's the movie called?
United
Passions.
Passions.
It's going to do really well in Mexico. Pasiones Unidas. It's going to be a great telenovela.
The best part is that any John Oliver video about FIFA has more views than this movie.
They should hire John Oliver. He'd make a great spokesman.
It'd be drinking Bud Light limes all up and down the FIFA hall.
He spends
Always.
a lot of time breaking things down and like just burying people. Imagine if he could just lift them up. Or is that more of a Colbert thing? Maybe that's a Colbert thing.
All right, here's a serious question.
Oh no.
Should LaDainian Tomlinson make the Hall of Fame?
Oh, absolutely. He
Has
should have
to.
already done it. His shoes should make the Hall of Fame. His elbow pads should make the Hall of Fame.
Being able to steal the nickname LT is definitely a Hall of Fame move. That's making
Lawrence
the Hall of
Taylor
Fame right
left
there.
it with his cocaine in the bathroom. It's the whole story. He lost the nickname. LT needs a better nickname. Both of them, I think, because we need to be able to separate them. No, LaDainian Tomlinson was the best running back of his generation. Maybe you could argue Marshall Faulk, but he was a little bit older. Who would you take, Faulk or Tomlinson?
For all purpose,
Just
you gotta-
period, as
well,
a player on your team.
Falk.
Okay.
Just yards from scrimmage, touchdowns.
I don't know. I think Falk without that turf might not have been as good as LT off the turf.
I think Falk opens up the offense in a way that LT doesn't. LT provides you like an asset. He makes an aspect of the game very easy for you, but I think Falk just allows you to diversify in a way that always keeps the defense guessing.
Name a wide receiver who was on the Chargers in 2006.
Good point, Thomas.
Yeah, they made the playoffs almost every year just with LT. Tori?
Have we discussed the Broncos trying to trade Peyton?
No, we got to get this one in before we have to go. The Broncos allegedly, maybe, almost, kind of, sort of floated the idea of trading Peyton Manning, which would have been the craziest thing that ever hit sports. I promise, it would have been insane.
To the Texans.
To the Texans.
For J.J. Watt? Please, for J.J. Watt.
Peyton wishes he had that much value. But no, the Broncos are so in on Peyton Manning. He's so buddy-buddy with John Elway that there's no way this could be true. Kubiak might have thought it. Kubiak might be pulling a George Karl where he thinks, oh, I'll get rid of this guy and get better because he doesn't play my system. But you got to remember, Kubiak and Peyton Manning know each other. They've both been in the league for years and years. Kubiak was a quarterback when Peyton Manning was coming up in the league. So I don't know what happened, but there's no way on earth you can trade Peyton Manning, and it would have broken Twitter.
I love the idea.
You love the idea of currently trading Peyton Manning?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? The Broncos are in the last year or two of a window of having one of the greatest regular seasons.
I just think it's closed.
You think it's closed already?
I don't think they get anywhere.
Do you think he was really injured last year, or do you think he faded?
I think last year was the end. I think he's not coming back. He's not. Peyton Manning of 2006 is not walking through that door.
Oh, of course he's never going to walk through that door. And if he did, he'd have to walk through with 4 more neck surgeries. But what do you think their record is at the end of next season? Are they 11-5 or higher? Or under?
I think they make the playoffs. I just don't. They're not going to win.
What's wrong with making the playoffs, though? At this advanced age in his career, the window's still open. You said it yourself. All you have to do is get in.
But I don't think Peyton's body can hold up through the whole season.
Okay, that's the question.
I think it closes for them by the end of the year because of his health issues.
Should they spot start Osweiler throughout the season and just try to scrape into the playoffs? Because I've never really seen anyone do that before.
I don't see why not.
All right. Well, that's going to end our show today. Thank you, Tori, for coming on. That was awesome. My favorite part of the show. Now it's time for some thank yous and self-promotion. You can find all episodes of Coach's Decision on our YouTube page, Coach's Decision. Follow the show on Twitter at Coach's Decision. Follow me on Twitter at Giants Todd and Joaquin at Walk, JOAQ_Nagel. Any thoughts or questions, please drop them in our Twitter feeds or send them to Tori at coachesdecision.ksco.com. Thank you to Tori. You are our rock, our hard place. You sort through the steaming pile of feedback we get, and Sam, apparently. Finally, thanks to my co-host, Joaquin Nagel, and the radio station we are sitting in, KSCO. Couldn't do it without you, KSCO, and you, Joaquin. My name is Thomas Todd. You are listening to KSCO 1080 AM, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey.